relationships. All right, now if you know this relationship ain't legit, you know it might be a little sketchy, okay, then I wouldn't be moving over to a country with somebody that you have no idea what's going on. Before I go into really talking about what needs to be done and thought about before relocating, I am going to just go through a very quick background of my husband and my story. If you looked at my video, my previous video, which I will link above, then you did get a little bit of the backstory. I met my husband in 1999, and when he first met me, he told me right off the bat that he wanted to eventually permanently move back to his home country of Ghana. Now, I was 20 years old, so I really was not taking any of that into consideration, considering I was thinking to myself, how long am I even going to be with this person? I mean, thank you for telling me, but all right, I might not be with you that long to even really care about it. But our relationship did get serious. It definitely became a more serious relationship when I had my daughter in 2001. So by that time, our relationship was pretty solidified at that point. So I knew eventually I would have to move to Ghana permanently. Now, I wasn't very happy about it at all. There was just a lot of just things that I just had questions about that I'm going to talk about in this video that are very important before you actually decide that you want to move to Ghana or any other African country for love, for the person that you're with. What all goes into that, because it's not something easy. It's not something that you just get up and decide to do. It does take a lot of planning. It does take a lot mentally to think about, and so all that is going to be covered in this video. But at the beginning of my relationship, or I did not really think it was something I needed to really think about until, of course, our relationship got serious. Then that was another situation. So now I'm at the point where it's getting closer to time for me to be ready to start getting ready to move to Ghana for permanent time. And so how am I going through that, and what is my husband also doing to help me prepare for that? So that's what this video is mainly going to be touching on. So if you are someone like me in this situation, if you are a woman that is married to a man from Africa and you are thinking about moving over there for him, this video is for you. If you are from Africa, from an African country, and you want someone to move with you, this video is for you as well. So let's get into it. So the first things first off the bat is that if you're the person that wants your spouse or the person that you're with to move with you to Ghana or any other African country, you need to let that person know in the getting to know you stages. This is not something that you tell someone when they're already invested in the relationship, because that does make it a little bit more difficult to kind of end the relationship when you've told somebody, hey, I want to go move back to my home country. So that's something that you need to say right off the bat. That gives that person enough time to decide whether or not she wants to move with you or not. If that's something that she wants to do. If she's not willing to move to your country with you, then you can already then establish the fact that, okay, then I don't need to go further with this relationship. If she has said, yes, that is something that I can see myself doing if we get to that part of our relationship, then you know that you can go further with the relationship. So it's important to let her know right up front that you are wanting to move to your country eventually, so that she can then decide if the relationship needs to go further or not. The second thing is to go ahead, once you have decided, once you and her have decided that yes, there will be that we will be eventually moving back to my home country, the next thing to do is kind of lay out a plan of when that's going to take place. Now, it's very difficult for you to say, hey, we're going to relocate in 2024 or 2025. That is just too specific. Life happens, things happen, situations happen. So it's very difficult for you to make it that specific, but You can say to yourself, hey, in 5 years, I'm going to have all this together. In 6 years, I'm going to have all this together. So in the 6-year time, it's going to kind of give yourself some room. That's when you need to start preparing. Now, for my husband and me, he told me that he wanted to move when he retired. Now, that was a problem for me because he's older than me. So that means that I'm not going to be at the age to leave when he's able to leave because of our age difference and when we're able to retire. So that had to be a different conversation then. So if you retire early and you move to Ghana, where does that leave me? What am I supposed to do? Am I going to pick up then from my job and resign or whatever and move over there? So those are conversations that we were having. We actually work in the same situation, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in the video. So it's pretty much the same job that we're doing. So that means that his retirement is going to be the same as mine, really, except for the time is going to be different because, again, he is older. So we kind of decided, okay, if he's ready to retire, fine, and I will go along after. I will come afterwards. It doesn't have to mean I might not go when I retire. I might decide to go a little earlier if we are financially able to do so, which I will talk about that also later in the video. But at least we kind of have a ballpark figure of when we are wanting to move to Ghana. Now, that plan can always change. It's not like you say, I want to move in 6 years, and then both of you all might be ready in 4 years and you decided you want to leave earlier. Or maybe things are not ready in the 6-year time, so that you have to extend that time. So don't think that you have to say, I have to move in 6 years and it has to be that time, because things also happen. So right now, my husband and I are at a point now where it might be earlier than we thought it was going to be. So with that in mind, of course, plans change, and then now you have to adjust accordingly. But even if the plans change or not, you still need to have an approximation of time of when both are going to be ready to relocate to the country that you're relocating to. The third thing is to make sure that you have a stable relationship. This needs to be someone that you're going to be with for a long period of time. There is no room for breakup, no room for instability. This has to be your person, your ride or die. Now, we all know that there are times where things don't last forever, okay? You've known people, I've known people that have been married for 20-something years and have gotten divorced. So you don't really know what the future holds. But the relationship needs to be stable, okay? It needs to be stable. Now, I'm going to kind of gear off for just a minute to talk about relationships, all right? Now, if you know this relationship ain't legit, you know it might be a little sketchy, okay? Then I wouldn't be moving over to a country with somebody that you have no idea what's going on, okay? And I think y'all know where I'm getting at, all right? Now, there are bad people in America. There's bad people everywhere. There's bad people everywhere you go. Be mindful of who you're trying to relocate for. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Okay, so just don't get caught up in some situation where you find yourself in a mess. Make sure that it's somebody that you've been with for a while. You know them, you know their family, you know their situation, and you know it's not somebody that's going to get you somewhere and take advantage of you, or it's something that is not real, okay? So make sure that you know all of that ins and outs of your relationship before you go getting on a plane with all of your things to another country, and then there you be, stuck, trying to get back.
Stopping here to say that when you purchase your ticket to relocate, I would suggest that you also have an open return on that ticket, so that if anything goes down, you'll have a way to get back home if you need to.
Okay, so just be smart, be mindful, all right? Make sure that the relationship is stable. Make sure it is a solid relationship, a real relationship, that when you go and move over to the country, that it will continue to be a stable relationship and you won't find yourself regretting moving there in the first place. The fourth thing is just to make sure that everything financially is taken care of. Now, since you're going to be relocating with your husband or with your boyfriend to an African country, I'm hoping that he already has settled home and financial means and things like that. He's asking you to move over there with him. However, you still need to make sure that you're financially capable. You still need to make sure that your finances are in place. What have you done if you've had to leave your job, pick up and move out, or whatever, making sure that your finances are still together and still good to go, okay? Because you want to make sure that you still have your stuff going on, you still have the stuff that you have on your own, just in case something pop off. You'll be able to have the money to do what you need to do. So make sure that you are financially able. Now, for me and my husband, we are already arranging what needs to be done so that when we move there, we're going to be okay. And it's not going to be that big of a deal. When I move over there with him, he's going to already have everything in place because, like I said before, he's going to be over there before me. So he's going to already get all that set up. He already knows what's going on. He already knows what he's going to be doing. And I'm going to talk about our home in a little bit. So all that's been taken care of. I know I'm going to have a place to live. I know that he's going to be doing something continuously with the financial situation, so I'm not really worried about that piece. So you need to make sure that whoever you relocating with, that they financially stable. You've seen where you're going to be living. You're seeing where everything is going to be. You need to make sure that you already know where you're going to be living. You already know where your finances are coming from. And for the one that's living in the African country, you've already got that set up, already ready for her to move over there. She definitely doesn't want to need to be worrying about where she's laying her head and where she's getting her money from. But like I said, for the women that are trying to relocate with a man in African country, you need to have your finances together, okay? You need to make sure everything is in order, that you have your own money, that you're able to transfer however that works, to make sure that you have it readily available when you go to Ghana so that you can have all that stability when you get there. You don't have to worry about anything like that once you move there. So make sure that you're financially stable and financially together. The fifth thing is that before you relocate, you should have already been to the country 2, 3, 4 times. More than twice. I would say 3 to 4 times that you've been to the country already and you know your surroundings. I would not be relocating to an African country without going there first, okay? And there are some African Americans, if you look on YouTube, a lot of them are just relocating just like out of the blue a lot of times. Some of them have visited the country of Ghana, but there are some that just really like just pick up and move and they've never been there before. And that is a lot. It's one thing moving from California to Tennessee versus moving from the United States to an African country. It's just 2 different cultures, 2 different situations. I would visit the country enough for you to get acclimated into the area, into the country, into the culture, the people, and all that. Because that's also going to determine whether or not you want to be living there permanently. I have been to Ghana 5 times. So I'm now familiarized with the area. And what I mean by that is, no, I might not can go to certain places because there's still a lot of roads. I don't know where they are or where I'm going, but I do have at least an idea of my surroundings in Accra. I do know the Adenta area. I do know the Medina area. I've been in the East Lagoon area. I've been in the main Accra, the greater Accra area. I have been, so I know those areas now because I've been there so many different times. I know what area, Osu area. I'm just trying to remember the different areas. There's so many that I know where I'm at. I know where I'm at. My husband did attempt to show me where our house is, so I do know kind of when we're in that area, that we're in the area where my home is. Now I don't know how to get there, but I do know I do know pretty much where it is. Okay, once I get there, I know we're in the area. I'm able to catch a taxi. I'm able to catch a taxi if I need to go somewhere. I'm able to get on a tra-tra to go somewhere. I'm able to ask where the tra-tra is going. So they tell you the area that it is. So I do know enough to know that if I get on a tra-tra, it's going to take me where I need to go. But I do know that even if I don't know where I'm going, I'm always able to ask somebody and they'll tell me where I need to go. So you need to familiarize yourself with the country, the people, the culture, and all that stuff before you go moving to an African country. That's just a given, because you need to understand what's going to happen once you're moving there permanently. How is it going to be? I would suggest to vacation there, stay there for a couple of months or whatever, as often as you can before you go relocating over there. And if you are someone who's trying to get a woman to move over there with you, I would encourage her to come with you as often as possible. Every time you go home, you need to make sure that she's going with you. Pay for her ticket or whatever you need to do to make sure that she is around the area. Show her what the area is, show her where everything is, show her how transportation works, show her all that stuff, because she needs to know that, okay? And another reason why you need to know it is just in case something pop off. I'm not saying it is, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that something's gonna pop off. You don't want nothing popping off from your relationship or in your marriage or anything like that. I don't want nothing to pop off in mine. But if something pop off and something happens, you need to know where your embassy is. I mean, I know where the U.S. embassy is. I can go there and, you know, get the help I need. I know where the nearest hotels are, the hotels in Accra. I know where they are. I can get there and go stay there, call somebody, whatever, get their arrangements to get myself home. Okay, so you need to know the surroundings. You also need to see if there's anything in the country that got some African American communities. Now I know in Ghana there is a large African American community. They do have an African American organization. I think it's important that you surround yourself with African Americans so that you can get the perspective, and so also that you can feel like that you're still kind of with people that are that you share a commonality with. So it's very important that you try to find an African American community if they have one in the country, wherever country in Africa you're going to. They do have one in Ghana. So I know that if anything, I'm able to at least contact that organization or whatever, to at least get in contact with a little bit more African Americans, so that can make it even more comfortable for me as well. So just know your surroundings, know the people in the area if all need be. It's also very important that you try to learn the language. I've already spoken to my husband many times. I do not learn any languages in Ghana, and he always tells me that people speak English, and it's true. A lot of people in Accra speak English, but when we go to his village, not a lot of people speak English, and it's just good to know the language, okay? At least the main language that people are speaking, so that you can know that you can at least speak to somebody. So yes, I would suggest to also learn the language. And if you are the person from Africa and you want your woman to move with you, start teaching her the basics, the languages. Hey, how are you? Hello, help me. I don't know. It's basic words that you feel like she's going to need to help her further in your country. So just familiarize yourself with the area, familiarize yourself with the people, the language, and all of that before moving to the country. The sixth thing is communicating with each other as far as being in contact with your loved ones. How often are you going to go home? Now I know tickets ain't cheap going to Ghana. And it's a long way home. It's 15 hours from Ghana to Atlanta, Georgia, which is where I would have to fly into. That's not where I'm from, but that's where I'd have to fly into in order for me to get home. So that has to be something that you talk to each other about, as far as how often are you going to be able to go back to the States. And y'all need to go ahead and communicate that way. Here overseas, we're able to go home every couple of years, every year sometimes as well. So that's not really going to be an issue for me as far as going back home, because I've already let my husband know that I'm going to go home as often as I can, because my parents are getting older. So I need to make sure that I'm readily able to go home. So y'all need to communicate with that as far as how often are you going to be going home. Yeah, and all that good stuff. You want to make sure that you're able to go home when you need to go home. So make sure that you've talked that over. So number 7 you need to make sure that you know the policies of the African country that you're going as far as permanently living there. So if your girlfriend or wife is moving to an African country, you need to already have that researched and figured out, so that when she gets there, you already have that handled. That should not be something that she has to worry about, because that's your country that she's moving to. So you need to make sure that you have done your research and known what all needs to be done. Paperwork needs to be ready to be filled out or whatever. So when she gets over there, all she has to do is go and do whatever's required to get her permanent residency there. Now in Ghana, it is not that difficult, from what I read, for me to get a residency, because I'm married to a Ghanaian. So I'm able to get a residence permit because I'm married to somebody who lives there. So I don't know how that is in all the other countries, but that's how it is in Ghana. And of course, my husband informed me of that because I'm married to him. I'm able to get a residency. If I would like to, I'm able to get citizenship as well. That's not something that I have decided if that's something I want to do or not. So just make sure that that your husband, boyfriend has already gotten in place what's going to happen once you get there. They've already did the application process, whatever needs to be done to make sure that when she gets over there, when you get over there, you're not having to be worrying about how you're going to stay there. That's already been arranged. So make sure you know the policies of your country when it comes to permanent residencies. So that is all that I need to share as far as before you relocate to someone, with someone for love, whether it be to Ghana or any other African country or any other country. These are the things that you definitely need to consider before you are moving there. There's a lot of other factors that come into play, you all. If you have children, that's another situation that you have to consider. For me, I have kids. Yes, we have 2 children, but they're grown. My daughter will be 21 and in about a month, and my son is 15. So by the time we move to Ghana, my daughter graduates this coming school year. So she'll be doing whatever she's doing at that point. My son would have already been graduated. He'd be in college. So the kid situation is not something that we have to worry about when we move to Ghana, because they'll be grown. But if you are someone who has small kids, or the person that you're with has small kids, that's a different situation that you have to then deal with as far as school and education and all that stuff. And so that's other things to consider before you start relocating to another country. You need to make sure that all that's taken care of before you move and up with your kids. When you relocate to another country for love, it can be very scary. It is not impossible. When you support each other and you're there for each other, you love each other, it can work. Just make sure that you're moving because you really want to move. You're not moving because he's forcing you to move, because if he forces you to move and you move, it's not going to work out. You will be resentful for that. So make sure it's something that you have thought about. You are in agreement with moving there with him. It is something that you want to do, not for him, but for you. Then everything will be fine. Everything will be fine. All right, I am Mazellegh. Make sure that you like and subscribe, and I will see you on the next video. Bye.